Alright, I'm going to check out this LPVO scope by EzShoot, low power variable optic. It's a 1-6x24. There's how she comes there. It is illuminated center reticle. We'll go over that in a second. There's your screen wipe there, silica pack, comes with the battery for the illumination. Let me get this out of here. Alright, there she is there. As you can see, you have these flip up caps here. I'll flip them up for you in a sec, but I just wanted to show that they are the, if I can figure it out here with the zoom, I'll show you guys better here in a sec. Anyways, they are the clear lens, so you got the yellow cover in the back and the clear in the front, but you can see through these, so then they'll just flip up like such, front and rear. There we go, sorta. So I'm trying to, it's always a little bit difficult to focus through scopes on a camera here, but there's with the cap flip down, so you can see it's yellow there, and of course if I flip it up, front and rear, the front one is clear as you can see there, rear is yellow. Let's see if I can get a refocus on this. And there's your reticle. We'll go over that in a second. I'll also throw up some screenshots of that reticle so you guys can see it a little better. There, that's not too bad. I should also take this opportunity to mention it is a second focal plane scope, which basically just means that the reticle stays the exact same size while you zoom in and out. First focal plane does not, the reticle changes. Of course, these are removable if you do not want them on there, but I'll probably leave them on for the most part just to keep the lens protected and whatnot. But you do have a fast focus eye back here, a diopter, turn left and right to focus quickly. So if you want access to that, you're going to kind of have to take that rear one off there. 1-6 power, as I said. You see 1.5, 2, all the way up to 6x magnification. Your windage and elevation adjustments are here. And then it's got a red or green. You can see the red and green there. We'll try both out. 5 different brightness settings for that center reticle. It'll illuminate that center circle and dot in the center there. Okay, these are finger adjustable. Hopefully you can hear that. There is an audible and forcible feedback. Nice little notches. It's not mush. And you can hear the clicks on both. Half-inch adjustment at 100 yards, which is typical for an LPVO. Took that rear lens cap off there so you can see it does in fact have the diopter. It works nice. I can't do it one hand and record one hand and turn it with the other, but there you can see it's got the diopter on the rear. Okay, obviously this isn't going to look as good through the camera as it does to my eye. It's super clear glass, but there's your reticle there, so the center will light up, and we'll experiment with that here in a second once I get the battery in. But there's the reticle you're looking at, so you do have some point of aim for windage and elevation, bullet drop compensation and whatnot. Again, I'll probably put up a little thing, screenshot here for you guys to see how it really works, if the graph makes any sense to you. But you can kind of judge also. It's a sort of a rangefinder as well. Depending on your target, you know, whether you're aiming at, say, a white-tailed deer or whatever, it'll be, you know, look so large within that center circle there at different distances, so you can kind of gauge a distance based off of that. Or of course, if you're shooting silhouette targets, you can do kind of the same thing. That center reticle there with practice at different distances will help you gauge the distance that your target is at without having to switch to a separate rangefinder. So let me get the battery in this thing real quick and we'll check out the illumination. Alright, I got it on the red there. Let's see if we can find that. I'm gonna have to get a focus. Okay. So that is the brightest setting, but this is, okay, daylight, guys. So obviously the point of this is for low light conditions. Sometimes like aiming back in the trees there. Let's say there's a deer back there against the trees and it's real low light conditions. It'll be hard to see those black crosshairs, the black reticle. So the whole point of the illumination is for low light conditions. That way the black reticle does not blend in with the deer, or let alone if you're shooting at a black hog or a black bear or something like that, you won't be able to see it at all in low light conditions. So having that illuminated reticle in those low light conditions allows you to see your reticle clearly against a dark lit background. So as you can see there, it's plenty bright even in broad daylight here to see it on the brightest setting in red. Let me switch over and show you the green real quick. There we go. I'm trying to get this thing to focus. There's with the green. Later tonight when it is about dusk, I'll try to pull this thing out and show you guys in low light as well, because again, that's the brightest setting at broad daylight here, but at night that would be too bright, so you would want to turn it down some. But this does allow you to go high enough to where even during the day you can see both red and blue no problem. Alright, so I just kind of got it sitting on some books here. So you see there, not illuminated. Clearly I'm not having any issue seeing. Let me zoom it in for you. I got it zoomed in on 6x still all the way there. It's going to be a little difficult to see on that tree back there. I got it zoomed in on this tree in that corner. If I remember correctly, earlier in the video I had a hard time. Yeah, like the camera doesn't want to pick it up once it's zoomed in too far. I'm going to have to try lowering it. Let's try 4 then. Alright, so there's 4 power. I just can't get it to focus on the camera. Once it's on 6, it won't like look through the tube of the scope and the reticle and all that, right? So there's 4x clear back there compared to, you know, I just had it on 1x previously. So as you can see there, like I said, this thing actually zooms in pretty far. That's only 4x magnification. That puts you way closer to the deer or whatever you're aiming at. Oh, lost focus there. There we go. So yeah, you can imagine 6x then. This is only on 4x. And again, also, it looks way better to my eye than it does here. I mean, it's like crystal clear. So let's try the illuminated reticle now. Alright, so see, this is what I was talking about. And again, I'm just having a hard time getting the focus. It looks way clearer in person through my actual eye. But that's actually on the lowest setting there. So now that it's getting kind of, you know, dusk out here, low light, on the lowest setting, that probably looks just as bright as the brightest setting did earlier in the day when it was, you know, broad daylight. So that's the lowest. Let me crank it up all the way and show you how bright this is going to look now at low light like this. That's way brighter. Let me see if I can get it to, there we go. Okay, so once it focused, it turned kind of orange on the camera there, but it is that bright red, like it, yeah, well, I'm trying to get it to unfocus now so you can see it, but it is that bright red. With it focusing, it's making it look like a pale orange yellow for some reason, but when it was out of focus, you guys could see how freaking bright that thing was. So this camera does a good job of, like, I don't know, picking up light and helping you see when it's dark out. It actually makes it look a little brighter than it is. So it's actually a little darker than it appears right now. All right, so there's the green on low. I'll probably do the same thing on the green. Yep, it's going to make it look kind of whitish. So it's super bright green like that. But then once the camera tries to focus, it changes it. So there's the green full brightness. And again, it is very bright green like it looks there at first before it focuses. Yeah, you can see all the floodlights that are coming on at the houses around here. So I'll wait till it's just a little bit darker, not to where it's like pitch black, but, you know, pretty close. So another 10 minutes or so when it's a lot darker out, and we'll see how it looks then. All right, so it's about 10-15 minutes later. So as you can see, the deep blue reflection in the window, I wanted to catch that before I move it, because like I said, this camera does a good job of like making it look brighter out than it is, but it's that deep blue darkness. You can see my floodlights on. So anyways, we're still at 4x. We're still pointed at that back corner. Let me see if I can capture this. So it will be harder for me to focus now that it's darker out. Yeah, it's not going to want to focus really. So you can see there, I can still see without illumination just fine. But anyways, if you were aiming at something dark colored, like an actual, you know, like a moose is almost black. A deer in the shadows when it's dark out will look black. A black bear is obviously black. Feral hogs are usually black. So that's where the illuminated reticle would come in handy, because if you're aiming black on black in low light, you're not going to be able to see your reticle. Alright, so that is on the lowest setting now that it's darker out. So you can see that's plenty there. If you go brighter, it's way too much. Then here's the green on low. And then, yeah, it makes it look white once it focuses, but that's on low right there. But anyways, I'm sure most of you guys already know that anyways, but that'll at least give you a low light demonstration there. So it has plenty broad daylight on the brightest setting to where you can still see it, but that's not what it's for anyways. That is for low light shooting. So like I said, if you align your crosshairs or reticle or what have you on a dark target in low light conditions and you can no longer see that reticle, that's what that illumination is for, so you can light it up and actually see it against your target. And you got 5 different settings there, green and red there. So no matter the lighting conditions or the target color or what have you, you can find the right setting to where you'll be able to see it just perfect. Also want to mention, this is a 30 millimeter tube, not your typical 1-inch tube. It is a 30 millimeter, and that's an upgrade. So what that gives you is 60 MOA of adjustment instead of only 40 MOA of adjustment like the typical 1-inch tubes are. So you will need 30 millimeter rings for this, but you'll get more range of adjustment and windage and elevation that way with the larger tube. Shockproof, waterproof, fog-proof. It's rated to 800 Gs of impact, so that should be good on anything up to a 308 caliber. It's a multi-coated lens, about 9 inches long and 15 ounces. Again, link in the description. You can read all the details there and more, as well as reviews. This thing has pretty good reviews as well, 4.5 star rating as of the time of this recording. Right, but I'm going to get her thrown up on the rifle here and we'll test her out. So I'm just going to put it on my Anderson here. It's a mil-spec Anderson upper and lower, 7.62x39. So we'll be putting it through more of a test today with this heavier recoiling cartridge, 7.62x39. For those who don't know, that is the AK-47 round. So more recoil than the traditional AR 223-5.56. So that's what we're going to run through it today. Also, guys, this is a budget rifle, so it's kind of a rattle trap, if you can hear all that. So on top of having the heavier recoil, it is going to be giving that scope a pretty good jolt there with everything, you know, rattling around and whatnot. So it'll be a pretty good test for it here today. Now, I had wanted to and tried to get out to the other range that I sometimes shoot at, but I just was not able to get out there. Being able to shoot out there is at the discretion of the landowner, and I contacted him 2 days ago and I have not heard back. So unfortunately, I'm not going to get to do any of that cool tactical type shooting, you know, kind of what this thing's meant for, close range and whatnot. Of course, you can go out far range. I'll show you here today. We're going to take some long range shots with it too, because you can go up to that 6x magnification. But I was hoping to hit all the multiple targets, do like walking shots and whatnot. But like I said, I can't get to the other range for this review. So unfortunately, we'll just be out here at this rather boring bench rifle shooting area here. So I'll do what I can, make sure it functions, hold zero and whatnot. I got some, those are shotgun clays out there, you know, they're only about 3 inches wide or whatever. Down there at 100 yards, we'll try to hit some of those. I got my steel gong down there in the center of them at 100 yards. I'm going to get it zeroed here at 25 yards on this target here, you can see. And we'll see what kind of, I mean, the groups are really going to be up to the rifle and the ammunition, but we'll get some groups and make sure she holds zero and all that. And we will be going beyond 100 yards as well and just starting out here. All right, there she is all mounted up. I'm going to work on getting her zeroed. All right, well, I already got about 10 shots off camera. I got her zeroed, I think. I even busted a clay down there at 100 yards, so we'll get some of that on camera now. All right, well, as you saw, 100 yards is no problem whatsoever, so I went ahead and moved the steel gong out to 200 yards there. Center of your screen, 200 yards. That is a 16-inch steel gong, by the way. Well, I switched to ammo, and apparently it's way off to the right, so I would just aim accordingly, because I had it zeroed for a different ammunition that I'm now out of for this range trip, that is. So I mean, as you can see there, 200 yards, no problem, other than the fact that I need to re-zero for that ammunition. All right, we're gonna try for 300 yards now. All right, I reviewed the footage there. It looks like I was compensating too far left because remember, it was zeroed for a different ammunition. I ran out here at the range, so now I'm using something different. I'm not re-zeroed for this ammunition. I'm using Kentucky windage. So compensated too far left, and it was a little low still, so I should know where to hold now. Look to the right. First shot just high, and I did my very best to enhance the audio. It's very hard to hear the impacts. Whenever you don't see a bunch of dirt kick up, it's a hit, although you might see a little bit from the impact from the shrapnel of the bullet. You hear that one?
Yeah.
Hear it?
Yeah, I can hear you traveling down.
Alright, I had to come down here where I could hear myself. Sorry if the video is a little, I don't know, lower quality than usual, but I'm out there on the rifle range and other guys are shooting like crazy, and I usually don't do a whole lot of talking because it's kind of pointless anyways. You can't hear me when they're shooting anyways. Anyways, I want to wrap this up. Obviously, she was holding zero there, 300 yards, and I should have had some B-roll footage I threw in there, just taking a whack at it at 500. Now, again, if those 500-yard shots, it still was not the ammunition that I originally zeroed it for. I started out with Wolf 124 grain hollow point, 123 grain, whatever it was, the military classic, and then I switched over to Tula 154 grain soft point, so obviously those are going to shoot a lot different. That's why my point of impact changed, because I changed ammunition, because I was just using up old ammo that I had. So, but even at that, 200 yards no problem with the ammo switch, 300 yards no problem. I just had to use a little Kentucky windage because I didn't want to re-zero it for that, because I'm not going to have the scope zeroed for those 154 grains. And then those 500 yard shots too. Again, I was just kind of winging them out there. Wasn't trying too hard. Plus, it's still got the mil-spec trigger, so you got the like grittiness and creep and whatnot. So that's not the greatest trigger for trying to shoot long range accurately. But as I said earlier in the video, 6x on this thing was plenty to see the target out there at 500 plus yards. I got a few hits out of that too, using the Kentucky windage again because I wasn't zeroed for that cartridge. But if I had actually zeroed the rifle for 500 yards and was, actually giving it my all instead of just zinging them out there, I probably could have got 9 out of 10 hits. And I actually posted a video with this Anderson. I'll put a link in the description of that. I have shot this 7.62 by 39 using different ammunition. 500 yards very accurately, so make sure you go check that out. But even with this little, LVPO tactical scope on there, I was not doing half bad considering I wasn't zeroed for that stuff and was just winging them out there with Kentucky windage at 500 yards. So but I really like this thing. If you want to get an LPVO, this is a great budget option. As of the time of this recording, they're coming in just over $100, but that's a steal compared, most other brands out there being like 300 plus for something like this. The glass is really clear. I could see super clear at 25 yards and clear out at 540, no issue. Like I said, the magnification is pretty true to indication. That 6x almost seems like it's more than 6x, which I like, because I'd really like to have a 1-to-8 power, and this is a 1-to-6. But all the way down on 1, it's a true no magnification. Again, like I mentioned earlier, sometimes you get these cheap LVPOs, not cheap like this one, I'm just saying in general, and they don't, or just cheap scopes in general, and whatever magnification you put it on isn't true. It's not like an actual 1x, it's not an actual 2x, it's not an actual 9x or whatever, but this one definitely is. And like I said, that's especially a thing guys are concerned with on these LVPOs, the wanting 1 power to actually be 1 power and not more like 1.5 or 2x, because that kind of defeats the purpose of being able to put it on 1x to where there's no magnification. In case you're having to engage close range like this, you don't want magnification, and it's going to greatly reduce your getting on target time. You want no magnification when you're standing this close if you have to use a scoped rifle for close range engagement like this. So as I said, this is definitely no more than 1x on 1x. It might even be like 0.8, 0.9. And then all the way up on 6 there, it's at least 6x, I think. I mean, maybe it's just because of the cheaper scopes I've been using, but the 6x on this, like I said, it's almost like getting close to a 9x on some of my 3 to 9 power scopes I use sometimes. So I'm real happy with the magnification on 1x. I'm also real happy with it all the way up. Like I said, more than enough to see out there 500 yards. Windage and elevation works just fine. Like I said, nice audible feedback you can feel and hear on both windage and elevation. Of course, I already showed you guys the illumination. It works great as well. Super clear glass. It held 0 all day, and there was probably at least double the amount of shots off camera with this thing on as what's actually included in this video. So I'm really happy with it. I have no complaints whatsoever, especially for the price. But that'll do it for this one. I'm going to wrap her up here. Again, link in the description for this exact scope if you want to go check one out for yourself, and there may be a few more details in there on the ad for it as well. You guys will definitely see this on the channel more. Like I said, I actually do really like this thing, and it's super clear. I can't say that for all my scopes, so I'll definitely be having this in random videos throughout the year and years coming up, so we'll be able to have long range updates on this and whatnot too. So I'm definitely going to be putting it to use, but currently I can't see any foreseeable issues with it. I think it's a pretty good scope for the money, guys. So like I said, link in the description if you want to check one out. Also, don't forget, I'm going to put that long-range 500-yard video in there where I was actually trying to shoot 500 yards and was doing so accurately. I'll put that in the description as well if you want to go check that out with this exact rifle. It was a different scope, though. Appreciate y'all watching, and I hope to catch you on the next one.